Hey, I want to take some time today to talk about something that was a very hot topic in our live chat last night, and that is the Chipotle incident that went on in Michigan recently. Now, a lot of you probably are already aware of what happened, but for those of you that aren't, I want to go over it here. It seems like in a Chipotle in Michigan the other day, a white couple were leaving as a black couple were coming in. A black mother and daughter were coming in. Well, apparently the woman's bag hit the 15-year-old girl, the bag she's carrying out to the car. Well, they go ballistic. They demand an apology. They say they're owed an apology, which I don't agree with that right off the bat. You're not ever owed an apology. Apology is a nicety. It's something people do if they're polite. And if people choose not to be polite, well, then fuck them. But the woman says she didn't even know she bumped the girl. So it couldn't have been that much of a bump if she didn't even know they bumped each other. And I'm giving them both the benefit of the doubt here. I'm saying that it did happen and that the other woman wasn't even aware of it. I'm giving both of them benefit of the doubt. Well, they start filming. The black family start filming, the mother and daughter. And in this video, what you see is a white lady looking completely bewildered that she doesn't understand what's going on or why this is happening. She's not being rude. She's not calling them names. She's not getting back in their face or anything like that. The mother and the daughter decide to pursue them to their car, the husband and wife. Well, the husband helps his wife into the car, and then he goes around and gets in the car. Well, while this is happening, while he's helping his wife in the car, the mother is just berating the white lady and her husband. The daughter is berating them, calling them names. The mother is threatening physical violence against them, threatening to kick their asses, even the husband. After the woman gets in the car, she continues to talk to the black lady in a very calm manner for what's going on, saying, I'm sorry that this has happened to you, that life has treated you in a way that you act like this, but you can't just assume all white people are racist. You can't just call someone racist because they're white. Because, in other words, I'm not racist, and here you're calling me a racist because my bag supposedly hit your 15-year-old. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't think 15-year-olds pay a lot of attention to where they're going. I've been bumped into by a lot of teenagers in my life. At the end of this, what you're seeing is the black lady's just going off, threatening to beat them up, gets in the husband's face, threatens to kick his ass, and he's like, who do you think you are? And I was like, well, that is some restraint right there. Because at this point, I personally, and the way I try to judge everybody's actions, like I say, is how would I have reacted in that situation? And if I had been in that man's situation at the time, this black lady is harassing and threatening my wife. Her daughter's harassing and threatening my wife, threatening to beat me up. I would have wanted to punch her in the face, but you can't punch a lady. So I commend his restraint. And I say you can't punch a lady, but my grandfather used to have a saying where he would never strike a lady, but he would kick a bitch in the cunt in 2 seconds flat. And I think that almost would apply here. Yeah, my grandfather was very eloquent, quite the poet. But okay, this all keeps going on. The couple get in their car, and the black lady and her daughter are just not leaving them alone. They're not going to drop it. Well, they go to try to leave. They're actually leaving the scene. They don't want to fight. They obviously are trying to diffuse things. They're not being rude. They're not calling names, even while they're being physically threatened and verbally assaulted, etc. They try to leave. Well, the mother gets behind the car. Now they say, well, should they all start to back up into me? Well, I don't see how that's possible since you all were on the sidewalk in front of their car while you're doing the filming and everything, and you see they're leaving and then suddenly you're behind their car. Well, the mother, in my opinion, intentionally puts herself behind the car, starts smacking the car, saying they're trying to run over her. At that point, she's assaulting their property, as far as I'm concerned. Michigan is a stand your ground state, by the way. Let's people keep that in mind. You don't have to duty to retreat, even though they were trying to retreat. Their retreat was blocked by a woman who was acting unreasonably, in my opinion. Then the wife, the white lady, gets out of her car, draws her firearm, and says, get away, get away, get away. At no time does she appear like she's wanting to harm anybody. You wouldn't tell them to get away, get away, get away. If you wanted to harm them, you would have just got out and shot. She didn't do that. She gave them every chance to retreat. Didn't even end up doing anything to harm them in any way. Once she pulled the gun, they backed away enough that they were able to leave. So they were able to escape by using their gun. Well, the police actually show up, and the police take the stories, and the police arrest the white couple and charge them with some form of assault. I haven't heard of any charges against the black lady, even though her video itself would be reason for charges against them. But the police choose to charge the white couple. And not only are they charged with a crime now, but the husband lost his job. He got fired from a university he worked at because of this incident where he did nothing wrong except for show great restraint. This is one of the problems I have with the Black Lives Matter movement. If you know, I did a video where I'm like, I don't think they deal with the real problems. Some of the real problems are people like this lady. I mean, look to your own community for some of your problems. Look to your high crime rates and look to people like this. This woman strikes me as someone, her and her daughter, who were just waiting for their viral video moment to fight back against the man. And they saw this as their chance. And when the couple weren't reacting in the way they wanted them to, when they weren't responding to aggression with aggression, they just kept trying to escalate it, and it wasn't working. So they just kept taking it further and further. They were the escalators all the time. And I don't mean escalators like, something you ride up. They were the ones escalating the situation. So I think it's a travesty that the white couple get arrested, not because they're white, but because they didn't do anything wrong. I'm not defending them because they're white. They didn't do anything wrong. I'm not condemning the black couple, the mother and daughter, because they were right or just because they're black. I'm condemning them because they were total cunts during this, as far as I'm concerned. And I know people don't like that word, but sometimes it's appropriate. And that daughter, I don't think the apple fell far from the cunt tree in this case either, because listen to the way she's talking to them and pay attention to the way they're responding. I wouldn't care if all four of these people were white or all four of these people were black. The couple who got in their car and tried to leave without being aggressive would still be right if they were black, and the mother and daughter would still be wrong if they were white. So this is just a travesty. And like I said, this is one of the problems I have with Black Lives Matter. They ignore stuff like this. When someone in their own community is being the worst example of what you can be, they ignore it. When they have extremely high crime rates, they ignore it. When they are committing most of the violence, they act like it's a crime that police are interacting with them more. No, you solve the problems in your community for why these things are happening. You don't ignore the problems in your own house while yelling at your neighbors. You don't go out and tell your neighbors they need to cut their yard, trim their lawn when your house is on fire. So I just think this here video, like I said, it's a case of this daughter and this mother wanting to get their viral moment, and they were going to get it no matter how bad of a people they had to be. The white couple trying to leave, even if she did bump into her, the worst thing that happened there is she was slightly rude if she was aware of it. I've bumped into people coming in and out fast food restaurants before, and no one ever chased me down into the parking lot with a camera. And I'm pretty sure I said, excuse me most of the time. I even say excuse me if I don't hit people. If I just cross their path, I say excuse me. But I'm polite in that way. Military, mostly. Being raised in a military family. So, like I said, in this case, the black couple's totally wrong as far as I'm concerned. And the police, once again, are wrong for arresting the white couple, who I can't see committed any crimes. They defended themselves. They weren't even just defending their car. They were being kept from leaving while people were threatening them. They were defending themselves as well as their property. And like I said, Michigan is a stand your ground state. They don't even have to retreat, and they were trying to retreat. And then even after they pulled their firearm, they didn't use lethal force or even suggest they wanted to use lethal force. They used the possibility of lethal force to flee, to get away. So they retreated. So I think they did everything right, and now they're being punished for it. This black lady and her daughter did everything wrong, and they're being treated like they're victims of the man again. This is what's wrong with a lot of these movements, that people that want to point out injustices, want to point out actual issues. They ignore the issues that people see, the issues people actually see visibly in front of them. They ignore their own problems. This was a case of injustice as far as I'm concerned. That couple should have all the charges dropped. If you want to picket a police department or protest in front of a police department, this police department would be one to protest in front of right now as far as I'm concerned, because they've arrested this white couple for basically defending themselves in a very calm and reasoned manner while being assaulted by two out-of-control people. That should be commended, not charged with a crime. So if anyone wants to protest the police department, there'd be a good one to go protest. But like I said, I not only see this as an example of how some people are just trash and just looking for conflict and want to be able to say they have been discriminated against or treated poorly. They just want to because they want the attention that comes with that. And those people need to be called out. And I don't see BLM calling them out. I don't see any other black groups calling them out. Maybe they are, but I don't see it. They're not doing it very loudly because I don't see it. What I see is a couple who did everything right that is now arrested, and a mother and a daughter who did everything wrong, who are not only free, but are being treated like they were the victim in this situation.